Hi, I'm Seamless, and this is the 65th 75K tutorial. This one was requested by Marvee or something. Yeah, that was a guess. And this is sound from an Excision and Pegboard Nerds track. And the sound sounds like this. This is what I got. Not the best thing in the universe. There's a lot about the sound I didn't get, and that's... it's because of the layering. There's layering involved in there. Obviously, you can hear it because it's like a higher pitch sound, a lower pitch sound, or whatever. But there's a lot to this sound that was hard for me to distinguish, which is very good. It's good showing that, you know, it was a rather well-made sound. It's just bad for me to try and do it. So my first thoughts on this matter were actually to kind of use the sound that comes before as a bit of a clue. This kind of sound is fun to do. This is essentially like your pretty average like band pass, low pass sort of. Actually, this looks like a low pass, kind of square or saw thing, and then on the opposite direction come in with noise. So you have like that coming on together. And up in here, I can kind of hear a little bit of that going on in the background. Like this part also sort of helps, but it's really very hard to distinguish like individual elements, so I just kind of tried to make stuff that sounded like it, and that's about as far as I got with that degree. But we have a whole bunch of individual things. So we have a big old envelope controller that's controlling a bunch of stuff that's all moving together. To separate it, there's a lot of... We have this, I have noise moving around, and this is kind of just coming up and down. High pass coming down with a low pass up top just to kind of curve some of the higher frequencies. And then that's actually coming together against the sub. Kind of cause that effect. Into distortion, I'm just getting high pass again, because if I didn't high pass it, we get that. Which isn't necessarily bad, but I already have that coming into the sound, so I just cutting out those frequencies. After that, we have this, which is sort of like the main actual bass for it. And this is actually a little interesting. This is a square with this harmonic cutoff, because I was reading the harmonics coming out of here. I'll just mute it while I'm talking about it. So here you can see this sort of happening, and you can see that here's the sub, and then here's this sound, and here's that sound. You can kind of see this other harmonic in there, but it's not as active in there. So what? And I'm pretty sure it's actually from one of the layers, which was hard, again, to pick out. So like I made a thing that had like the sub, the first harmonic, and then the fourth harmonic, and not the middle bit, which probably would have been solved by just having a different thing up there. It's just a different pitch, but like, it's just so hard to pick out. I just want to try not to do layered stuff, and like I know people are all about layering. Like, I guarantee you, making this sound was a lot less complicated than I'm making it out to be by trying to recreate it. It's just all for them. It was probably just like, they made these sounds and we made them together, and now they sound good together, and that's the end of the sound. That is just sort of how that worked out. That's how that usually works out. I mean, for all I know, they did slave away on it with extreme meticulous care for hours and hours until they did it. But that's just not the norm. And so to mimic that, that's what I created. I just made a square, and then created side harmonics, and then there's that. That's the sound. And then this is going into a band pass, which is being high passed to keep to separate the sub out of it. This is going into a slight distortion. This is the slightest distortion in the world. And then there's the high frequency stuff. Part of me just kind of wants to stick a saw, just like rather. And so there's a high frequency saw that's being FM'd by this off pitch sine wave, sort of sine wave. It's a little tensioned up. And the off-pitchness is what's giving it that kind of creepy, almost like a chord feel. It could have just been a chord, but I'm using the FM to kind of elicit that feeling. And then this number 3 is coming out and being FM by this other guy, and like this whole thing is just dumb. And I wasn't just this, and like that is actually trying for me to get this. That sort of tinge up in the top there. Although I'm pretty sure it's coming from the coming from the noise, and a little bit of how I did the distortion on the noise is a little bit of that. I'm using this is the smooth stairs mode, and in the wave shaping, doing that is it creates FM like feelings. And I already spent a long time on the sound, and like too long for me to have to make a video out of it. But like I'm really not very into this. I kind of like the sound that I got. That's just like that kind of thing. Like that felt like a little okay. Like this actually reminds me of another sound, a very noisy style sound. It just feels like it was just kind of like that sound and then layered with like the higher stuff, which again sounds very simple, but like I apparently wasn't able to pull it off. So in the automations, the way that this is working is that we have here's the high pass for the noise to come down to keep it, and it's going up against the band pass of the sort of square thing that we're talking about. And then this is actually a low pass filter that's on top of the high frequency stuff. And I'm pretty sure it's a low pass filter because you can come in here and you can kind of see that like there's a little bit of angle coming up and down on there. And actually, a little bit of that makes me think like, it's teensy, this little motion of some kind of maybe like formaty bandpassy stuff, which I just could not key into enough to understand like what I want out of it. And then again, like there's the bandpass for the square, and then there's the sub that's kind of like not even really on it. It looks like it's being faded in and faded out. So like that's why like the last thing in here is that it well here anyway, this fades in the sub and fades out the sub, and then this is the FM. No, that's the FM, and this is the distortion on the wave shaper. Oh, actually, that's the last guy. So this is the FM coming out of that, the high frequency noises, and then this is the wave shaper. Because if it was an even amount the whole time, that sort of squelchiness that comes in at the end, it doesn't come at the end, it just stays there the whole time. So we're automating the pre-gain here, so that it's sort of at its maximum, only at the very top kind of thing. And this is how we're able to have straight automation like this, but then have very articulated automations on things that still feel not perfectly straight. It's because we're doing that with the macro itself. Yeah, so that was my attempt at that. This patcher will be available to download in the description of this video. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all the good stuff. If you'd like to make a request for yourself, unfortunately you can't because the thread on Reddit that takes all these requests was archived, which means no one can talk on it anymore. But fortunately, there's 2,000 of these requests on there, so I'll definitely have enough to do 9 more of these. And as usual, have a nice day.